of business owner is one of the hardest and most fulfilling jobs anywhere. For over a decade, I have owned and operated a retail music store, a one job that uses just about everything I have ever learned. While some of this knowledge came from a classroom, I have no business degree or management certification. Over the years, I've developed philosophies and strategies that have allowed me to assemble and manage a team of more than 2 dozen people and grow my business into a regional powerhouse. There have been big wins and bad beats, but every day there is a new lesson. I'm Drew Holmes, and this is my playbook. Well, greetings and welcome to the Playbook. This is where I give you a behind the scenes peek at some of the strategies and philosophies that I employ in running my business and managing my staff. And specifically on this video, I wanted to address attracting and retaining employees. Over at the Nomad Network, Jason Stapleton of my.nomadnetwork.app asked the question recently for those of us that have employees, are we having trouble attracting and retaining quality people? And generally speaking, the answer was yes. And that has not been my experience. And so I thought a lot about what is it that we're doing, not even differently, but what is it that we're doing that is causing us to have success in this area? And I want to share those ideas with you. So when we're talking about attracting and retaining employees, the first thing that we really want to look at to me is what is the mission of your company? Now, a for profit company specifically has its mission to stay in business and isn't required to have a mission beyond that. I actually have a background in working for nonprofits. Part of my music degree, yes, degree in music, was a minor in arts administration, and we talk about that. And every nonprofit organization has some kind of a mission, whether it's educational or religious or something like that. And for example, for Boomer Music, my retail music store, our mission is to help people love music through making music. And that opens us up to things like repairing instruments and renting instruments and selling accessories and just doing tryout nights. Anything that's going to help someone love music is in keeping with that mission. So I believe that a company has to have some kind of a mission beyond just making money, or else you're going to lose interest, your employees are going to lose interest. There needs to be more to it than just that. The second thing to me when hiring people is we hire attitude, not skill. And there's a couple of things to unpack here. First of all, difference between talent and skill, and I said skill very intentionally. Um, a skill is an acquired ability to do something, like playing a musical instrument, for example, or throwing a baseball. You can learn that, you can develop that, you can get better at that. Talent is a natural, innate ability to do that. So, talent affects the speed with which you can develop a skill. We don't want to hire skill and we definitely don't want to hire talent. We want to hire attitude. Why is that? You can learn the skills. You cannot learn attitude. I had a coach, back in Little League who said it takes no talent to hustle. You want someone that wants to do that. So when we're talking about attracting employees and retaining them, specifically attracting them, I've had multiple people approach us recently about wanting to join our team. I think that the mission that we have and their innate attitude has drawn them to us and they want to be a part of that. And our two most recent hires have been completely because of their attitude. They weren't necessarily even people that we were looking for that we knew, and I'll get to that in a little bit here. The next thing that is very important to all of this is culture. What kind of a culture are you trying to cultivate there? Are you trying to cultivate one that's business only, punching a time clock 9 to 5? That's fine. If that's what you want, that's fine. Are you trying to have a dorm room atmosphere where people basically sleep at their desks and you've got trampolines in the break room? That's fine too. You have to make a conscious decision about what it is that you're trying to accomplish and then cultivate that culture, because that's what's going to attract the people to you. I mean, the culture that we have is, I hesitate to say family because we're not a family, we're a team. But we're all here again back to the mission. We're trying to help people love music, and whatever we have to do that is what we should be doing. Um, then once you've got an idea of what the culture is that you have, that is going to allow you to look for candidates that fit within that culture. So if someone is a clock puncher but you've got something that goes kind of beyond that, they're not going to be a good fit. Don't hire them. So that's really something that you want to make sure. And a lot of people are going to self-identify into this stuff. But if they're not, your job as the person hiring is to identify as to whether or not they're going to be a good culture fit, because not only are you trying to build the culture going forward, but they're trying to fit into the existing one. A bad fit with what you've got going on is going to resonate throughout the existing people, and it's going to upset the apple cart, and you're going to have problems with your existing employees. This also leads to the next thing, because frankly, the last two hires were people we didn't need, that we didn't think we needed. And so the point here, of course, if you're on the screen, is look for ways to hire people that are good fits, even if you're not looking for them. I the number of times that I've brought people on that I'm like, maybe I need them, but they had a great attitude, they were a great culture fit, they were aligned with our mission. We figured out the value of them. For example, my electronics expert, we brought him in as an instrument repair tech because that's what we needed, but now we're shying away from that more to electronics. He is taking the bull by the horns and running with that. That's something that he's passionate about and that he's really excited and seeking out. So giving him the opportunity to succeed, expand our business into areas that it hasn't been, it's a win for everybody. So take that one seriously, that even if you're not looking for somebody, find a way to bring them on the team, because a good player is a good player. I mean, again, I love baseball, so we go back to it. Is there any team in Major League Baseball that doesn't want Mookie Betts? Every team would find a way to have them in their outfield because he's a fantastic superlative generational talent. You find room for good talent, so don't be afraid to do that. And the last one that we saw in Jason's poll was people saying, oh, there's just no good candidates out there. I disagree. Even during the Great Depression, what, the unemployment rate was 10%, maybe 20. I don't know. I don't remember the exact percentage, but the vast majority of people had jobs or were able to get jobs. There are good people out there. And the fact that there's so many people out there and that there's so many people hiring, and I mean, there's a lot of bad companies that are looking for people. That's who you're competing with. Be a good company, be a good culture fit, have a good mission, have a team that people are excited to be a part of, and you're going to get the good employees, because there are people out there that want to work. There are people there that want to work for you. There are people there that want to do a good job and take pride in their work. Attract them. They will find you, and then that's how you're going to, get these employees and attract them and hire them and bring them onto your team and create the culture that people want to be a part of. So that brings us to the second part of this, because once you attract the employees, that's fantastic. You want that, but then you got to keep them. So then we move on to how do you retain these employees? And this gets a little bit deeper into management style and stuff like that. And what I'm going to talk about here is a little more labor intensive. This is the way that I've kind of landed on it here. So the first thing that we're going to talk about with that is going to be giving them a reason to stay beyond just a paycheck. Because if someone's just collecting a paycheck and not learning and not advancing, they will leave. Why? Someone will eventually offer them more money, fundamentally, or if they're not feeling appreciated. And I'll get more into that later. But so, what can you give them beyond a paycheck? Well, does the mission resonate with them? In the hiring process, you should have figured this out. If you didn't, then that's going to play into the retention. Do they want extra responsibilities? That's a whole other thing. I've had many employees say, "Oh, I want to do more." Well, then I tell them you have to do the simple stuff before you can do the hard stuff. Identify the people that are willing to do the simple stuff, willing to do it at a high level, and then advance them. Make them a more integral part of the team. When they prove to you that they can handle it, give it to them. Let them. Trust them. You can't micromanage everybody if you're going to have a team of any size, which is going to allow you to scale and grow. If you insist on micromanaging, that's fine. You're not going to grow, certainly not the rate that you want to. And then another thing that we've given people beyond a paycheck is schedule flexibility. We employ musicians. Musicians like to gig. We also employ people who have families. People like to spend time with their kids. If you can offer these kinds of perks that are non paycheck oriented, that's what's really going to build up the loyalty, because that's what people value. I mean, money matters, but this other stuff, frankly, matters more. The other way to retain employees is relate to them on an individual level. And this is where the labor intensive management stuff really comes in, because you have to get to know these people. You don't have to like people to work with them, but you do have to understand what makes them tick. I've got, one employee who loves mountain biking and, spending time up in the mountains. If push comes to shove, if he has to choose between working for me or being able to do that, I don't know what the answer is going to be, and I don't want to know the answer. The folks that have kids, family time is family time. I don't call them during that time. I don't bother them during that time. We try to schedule in ways that make sense with that. And so figuring out what exactly it is that brought them to you in the first place. Why did they think they were a good culture fit with you? That's another great point with relating to them as an individual, because figuring out why they came in the first place is going to allow you to retain them. Um, as a story on that one, when I worked at a music store similar to mine back on Long Island, I was assigned a great job of researching the lesson teachers, whether or not they were W-2 employees. And I did all kinds of research. And when time came to have the meeting, it was a family owned business. I was basically told, you're not a member of the family. We're having this meeting without you. And I was pissed because what matters to me is doing a good job and having that respected and validated. And I was completely invalidated in that. And I almost walked over that. And they didn't realize how important that was to me, that my contributions were valued. So you got to relate to your employees as individuals, validate their contributions, and know what makes them tick. And that's what's going to keep them working for you. The other thing you need to do is lead by example. I worked as an orchestra librarian in various places, and I made it clear to my staff when I was in Naples, Florida specifically. I was 22 years old. I had two assistants who were each twice as old as me, and I had a staff of volunteers, retired people, who were 3, 4, 5 times older. Well, not 5 times, 3 or 4 times older than me. No one questioned that I was the boss. And the reason was that I never asked anyone to do anything I cannot or will not. And I made that very clear to them, that I know how to do all of this stuff and I can do all of this stuff. But if I'm asking you to do this, it's because I need you to do this job right now. And I think that's really important that, for example, my store is a retail store. My employees need to see me working a cash register every now and then, answering phones, helping customers, and I do all of that. I run a route out to schools in my area each week, visiting with educators. It's important to be seen doing the job. That doesn't mean I do the job all the time. Far from it. I can't. There's not enough hours in the day. But proving that you can do it, showing everyone that you care enough to do it is so crucial. I go back, to, again, working for other people, and I won't name names on this one. There was times that I wondered why I cared more about the business owner's business than they did, especially when I was just an employee. You can never have your staff feel that way. The second they do, they are going to walk. So avoid that at all costs. So lead by example, make sure everyone sees that you can do the job too and that you care more than they do, because if you don't care more than they do, it's time to retire. And the last one, and this is one that I've really been bad at, which is be willing to part ways with bad culture fits. If someone's a bad fit for your culture and isn't aligned with your mission, they're not gonna be. You can't coach attitude. I've been able to do that exactly once, and frankly, that employee decided on their own to adjust their attitude. You cannot coach attitude. The second you find yourself trying to do that, run away. It's over. So if someone is a bad fit and is tearing the rest of the team down, and if they're self identifying that they don't want to be part of the team, take their word for it. Listen. If they're not willing to part ways, then you're going to have to do it for them. I know that just completely sucks. It is not my favorite thing to do in the world. It's something that I don't do nearly fast enough. And I really need to take the lesson away from that and do it faster. But preserving the culture at all costs is way more important than someone's feelings, quite frankly, because it's your business. In the end, it matters most to you. You stand the most to lose by its failure. Protect it at all costs. So anyway, that's the playbook on my thoughts on hiring or attracting and hiring and retaining quality employees. If you have any questions about that, hit me up on the network. Love to have your comments and feedback, and we'll catch up with you next time. Thank you for watching my playbook. If you like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to check out my other channels and content, for there is always a lesson to be learned. If you have a comment or suggestion for future content, please leave it below, and I will do my best to accommodate. I'm Drew Holmes, and this has been my playbook.